Creed 3 was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I'm a huge fan of the first one. The second one was okay. And with this being the first movie that Michael B. Jordan is directing, and with the addition of Jonathan Majors, what's not to be excited about? Although this is the third film in the trilogy, it honestly feels like it's the first Creed film. And what I mean by that is that Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, is not in this movie. Minus a few references to Rocky and of course Apollo Creed, this really feels like an Adonis Creed story. The film opens with a flashback, so right away you are invested into the relationship between Jordan and Majors. You'll see how close they were, the strong bond the two of them had, and then you'll get a glimpse at why they have not seen each other in so long. Jonathan Majors was amazing in Creed 3. He steals every scene that he's in. He's almost playing two characters because when we're introduced to him, the audience feels for him. We understand, we want to see him do well. But with Majors being the great actor that he is, he makes a few terrible decisions and the audience will automatically know that he is a villain. And Majors' performance, it's his body language, it's his facial expression. There's a scene in the middle of the film, I'm not going to get into spoilers, where he does something wrong and he turns to Adonis to look for some type of assurance, to maybe Adonis would be happy for him, to which obviously he's not. And you can see his facial expression go from happy to aware that Adonis knows what he did. And that brings us to Michael B. Jordan. This may be his most emotional performance in the Creed franchise yet. There are some things that happen in this film that show Jordan's range as an actor, especially with the storyline. You may even question if you want to root for the guy. The rest of the cast did amazing. Tessa Thompson, who I enjoy almost in every movie she's in, she was awesome. And shout out to the legend Wood Harris. I just love seeing him in any movie. Anytime he's on the screen, I'm a fan of. Paid in Full, of course, is one of my favorite movies. Wood Harris, he's a legend in my eyes. If you're watching this review and you're a fan of Creed, then I'm sure you want to hear about the fight sequences, the boxing matches, and they were well done. A lot of the things that you liked from the first two films, the shots where you're in the ring and it feels like you're in the fight, of course they bring that along. But with Michael B. Jordan directing, there are certain styles that he chose to go with. I know he's a fan of anime, and some of the fight sequences are very anime-like. But I will say with the third fight, the way it was shot, I can tell it took some people out of it from the audience. They went with a more artistic style, almost like a dream sequence, and I was a fan of, and I appreciate they took the risk. I am aware that in movies, especially if you're really locked in, if something takes you out of it for even just a minute, it may take you a couple more minutes to get back into it. The soundtrack I enjoyed. The first Creed was set in Philly, so they got Meek Mill playing. In this one, the story is really just all in LA. So you got The Chronic 2001, you got Nipsey. So I was feeling that. I will say the score wasn't as good as the first two. I do know that there was a new composer. Of course, you hear the Creed theme, but I felt like the score connected with you more in the first two films, especially in that first one. This is the shortest Creed movie out of the trilogy. I wish it went a little bit longer, and they spent a little more time with the relationship between Jordan and Majors, so that way by the time we get that last fight, you're even a little more emotionally invested. If I had to rank the Creed trilogy, I would go Creed, Creed 3, and then Creed 2. I enjoyed this movie, and I think if you're a fan of the Creed franchise, you will be in for a treat. Like I said, this is the beginning of the Jonathan Majors takeover tour with Ant-Man, Creed 3, and then we're going to get Magazine Dreams sometime this year. I'm giving Creed 3 a 9 out of 10. Like I said, congrats to Michael B. Jordan. It's his first time directing, and he made a hell of a movie. Let me know in the comment section below if you're excited for Creed 3 and if you're a fan of the franchise.